What's good, y'all? Captain here. Ugh, I hate that. Man, bro, I'm tired of this. I'm exhausted. I want to go to sleep on this, man. The milking of legends and people who have passed is really something else, man. And after this new Juice World money laundering scheme or whatever you want to call it, it's just getting worse and worse. I think that art is such a universally loved thing that sometimes it's really hard to say goodbye to a certain person or a certain person's art. But at some point, you should just let them rest. I remember when X passed and there was maybe two albums after his passing that felt super unfinished and undone, and you knew for sure he would have never put out half of the songs that was out there. Some of them was literally just him singing something on record or something like that, and it wasn't even anything. It was just like a freestyle, and they still used it and put it on the album because I don't know, man. It's a gross practice. And as much as I love the people's art and all the stuff that they might put out after or before or whatever, I know a lot of the music that we're getting definitely wasn't gonna be on the albums. Wasn't gonna be in the future albums. None of them were finished, man. And at this point, it's just disrespectful and a spit in the face inside all the fans and all the people who really like their music. And I really don't like it, bro. I mean, it's bad enough that they allow whatever the hell this artwork is for this album or a posthumous album or whatever it's gonna be, but they just continue to allow Juice WRLD's legacy to be, s- kind of spit on, to be honest, bro. They just giving verses to anybody, bro. Like Nicki Minaj, are we serious? Do you really think? You know what? That ain't even me for me to say. That ain't even for me to say because I didn't know the man or anything like that. Nobody really knew him like that. But I'm just saying, it's just a little suspicious. There is definitely a tasteful way of doing something like a posthumous album or whatever. Kind of like how MF Doom team or family is putting out different renditions or remixes to Food, which is one of the hits that MF Doom made like I want to say a few years before he passed. And it made sense. He also already had an album coming out or slated to come out during that same year, and they still dropped it. And again, it was respectful. They have his merch, and they're just repackaging all his old stuff because, if I'm being honest, the family needs to eat, and I do understand that. But at some point, it's too many hands in the pot sometimes. And it's not just like this with rap. In any other place or any other you know, any other area of art is always seen as, oh, when you pass you finally get that big break to where everybody really wants your art, or your art is worth way more because you have passed because this person was a misunderstood artist or have a painting that's beautiful but they only was really recognized after the death, or the death was so publicized that it ended up being cool. Just like how a lot of the messaging in like Juice WRLD's music, although he talked about drugs in a very, very dark light, but he also glorified in a shit ton of his music, which makes it a little difficult to listen to his newer stuff when you think about the way that he passed and the way that they're marketing this, I want to say, drug trip or whatever they want to say, or the party never ends and all that. It's just a little weird, a little distasteful. And of course, that's not my expertise to talk about the morality of a record label or management or whatever it is. But again, they can't spit in the face of the fans too much because as much as we like to talk about how X was one of the biggest artists and all that, after them progressively giving random songs to random people the fans just start getting fatigued and they just really didn't want to listen to it anymore, which is fair. I would be, well, I was one of those fans. I thought the same thing because how would I feel being like, I don't know, listening to pretty much unfinished products and unfinished demos for what? Just to help out the other person or the family that he didn't necessarily even have like a crazy relationship with. It's just a little scummy. These artists put themselves out there and pretty much sell their bodies or intellectual properties to these record labels, and they unfortunately pass away before they're able to fully pay back that money. Then of course they're gonna drop and be shameless and put out random albums of demos or whatever. And it's not like the fans stop being interested. They, in fact, it's more of an influx of, you know, popularity because that person has passed or whatever. You also want to be that guy who's all like, "Oh yeah, I've been locked in with so and so since back in the day," or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's, they still have like a reason to do it because it does profit quite a bit. It just morally it just feels weird, especially because at this point it feels like when you're popular, they don't value you as a person. They value you more like a entity, like a company or whatever it is. It's all. It's almost like if Walmart went out of business, they gonna still try to have that fucking closing store sale so they can just get all the rest of the shit and take up some type of money before they go under. You know, if I'm being honest, I just don't like it. Anyway, this is my rant about music. This is also my first video with my face on camera. How you doing? I usually stream on Twitch, which is gonna be somewhere over here or in the description. So like, if you're interested in that, you know, that's what's up. Also, tell me I'm pretty. Peace, bitch.